and welcome to News Today with me, Kemini Nyamani Amano. Coming up, Ghana Education Service says it has received assurance from government it will soon pay feeding grants for 3 northern regions senior high schools so students return to school. In business, U.S. accuses China of failing to comply with the World Trade Organization directive requiring it to drop duties on high-tech U.S. steel imports. On the foreign front, more than 200 civilians in South Sudan have drowned in a Nile ferry accident while fleeing fighting in the town of Malakal. Stay with me, I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more over the next hour. Don't go away. This is News Today. All the 83 senior high schools in the 3 northern regions of Ghana have partially reopened by admitting only final year students. The inability of the senior high schools to admit all students on the reopening days as a result of the non-payment of 2 terms of feeding subsidies owed to them by the government. The affected schools include 44 in the northern region, 23 in the upper east region, and 16 in the upper west region. We spoke earlier to Charles Aheto, who is acting Director General of the Ghana Education Service. Take a listen to what he had to say.
This was not planned, but it has become a major issue for me to work on. Now, because of that, I'm not having the opportunity to meet them as a group. So I'm meeting them in their different areas. I've just met with the Upper West people. I missed the opportunity to meet with the Upper East people. Now on my way to the northern region, Tamale, where I have heard the seat of the leadership is. So I believe that is the point where a lot of the future decisions on this situation will be made, and I hope that there will be something more concrete by close of day today.
I see. Charles, you are Director General for the Education Service. So you've been meeting with them. I should believe that you've had some concrete conversation to know when, or estimatedly tell us when the first and second year students can go back to school.
I cannot say for certain when, because there is a challenge which is a reality, and what we are doing is to look at the situation and within its context and take decisions that will enable us to take and discuss issues that will enable us to take decisions that will address the challenge.
So what is this challenge that has led to non-payment of feeding grant for 2 terms?
Well, honestly, this is not a new challenge. In fact, it has spanned from one government to the other. So let nobody begin to think that it is one that is happening because of this current government. No, that is not the case. The issue of the scholarship is part of a national policy that is designed to support schools in the northern regions, the 3 northern regions, in terms of the payment of their feeding fee. So the northern scholarship is used to pay the feeding fee for students in schools in the 3 northern regions. Now, so in terms of the management of that facility, the GES directly does not control that facility. It is controlled by the Scholarship Secretariat. But because the GES is the primary stakeholder, we are in the leadership to ensure that this money is released so that the Scholarship Secretariat can allocate it to the schools so that the schools will continue to function. And that is where our interest really lies, and we are continuously trying to do something to ensure that together with the Scholarship Secretariat, we find an amicable solution to this problem that has been occurring quite too often annually. We have taken it seriously, and we are also looking within ourselves to see how we can meet government halfway and get a win-win situation. So that is how we are proceeding in terms of managing this situation.
So how much are we looking at here?
I cannot tell you how much we are looking at, but I can give you a unit cost. I'm not too sure whether I know all the population of students in the schools for now, but the unit cost for each student is 2 cedis 20 pesos for all the schools in the 3 northern regions.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to some other stories. And the Adenta Municipal Assembly is proposing some changes to the redevelopment plan for the aviation lands in the municipality, where some occupants clashed with the police in a demolition exercise last week. Amongst the proposals is an increase in the land allocated to the assembly. One person was killed during the demolition exercise to make way for the project, estimated to cost more than $10 billion.
The consultants for the project, the consortium, said to be working for government, moved in last week to evict the occupants of the vast stretch of land said to be about 640 acres. The deceased is said to have been killed in an exchange of gunfire with the police who were providing cover for the exercise. Originally acquired for the use of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, the vast land was gradually being taken over by auto mechanics, container shops, carpenters, as well as some churches. The consortium says the plan for the project will accommodate a suburban commercial center along with housing which aims to help decongest the central business district of Accra. But the assembly also has some ideas of its own and is yet to approve the project, which falls within its jurisdiction.
The presiding member made it very clear that the Adenta Municipal Assembly, and for that matter, assembly members, were never against the project, taking into consideration the inputs assembly also raised, because they said at least the portion of land being earmarked for the assembly should be increased a bit, because the assembly is a new assembly and the future development activities will require more land. Then also a local content should be taken into account. The traditional authority should be specifically told this is how much land you will be taking, so that they know, as it were, it is just the allocation on paper.
The former municipal chief executive has been named as one who gave the go-ahead for the demolition of the illegal structures on the land. But this, the coordinating director of the assembly could not confirm.
The former MCE did not order any demolition. And for that matter, the assembly did not order any demolition. As you're already aware, assembly only went out to inform the squatters there to make way for a national project that is going to take place there. As to who ordered the demolition, I know the former MCE didn't, and that is how it is.
The coordinating director appealed to the squatters to relocate to pave way for work to begin on the project.
You're welcome back to News Today. We'll move on to some other stories. And there have been shortage of petroleum products in parts of Accra over the last few days. Drivers have often complained they have to roam for long periods to get petroleum products. The director of the National Petroleum Authority, Moses Asaga, has attributed fuel shortage in Accra to bad weather conditions in Europe and parts of the U.S. According to him, the bad weather conditions led to the delay in arrival of cargo that's causing the shortage. With me in the studio is Senyo Hosi. He is acting chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. And we'll talk about this over the next few minutes. Thank you very much, Senyo, for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
I got your designation right. You're acting chief executive. So let's talk about the shortage. Drivers are talking we can't get fuel, and bulk oil distributors, what do you have to tell us?
Well, I disagree that there's a shortage, because we have quite some good amount of PMS, well, what you call petrol, on the market. We have more than enough stock to cover over 2 weeks. And we have vessels that my members are bringing into the market. Some are discharging as we speak. And probably what we've seen as more of an internal logistical challenge, because there's some time gap between having stock in tank and getting redistributed to some filling stations. I have not queued for fuel, I have to be honest with you, over this entire period where there's been these rumors. And I don't think that we are experiencing shortages. We have done our part of the bidding. My members have honored their obligation to the economy. We've had perfect cooperation from the Ministry of Energy and the NPA, as well as the Ministry of Finance in this entire during this entire period. And I think it's enabled us to make products very available on the market as we speak. So I disagree that we have shortages.
But
really.
If director of the NPA says we did have some problem, when it comes to importing.
I agree.
Have we sorted out that problem?
That's been sorted out. There was an international logistical challenge. Yes, I know you mentioned the weather, but not just the weather. It's also been attributed to some level of competition for vessels carrying that particular product to our markets. There's been quite some number of international logistical challenges that we have had to handle. But we've all rallied together, and I think we've sorted out this problem. I want to encourage Ghanaians not to be worried. We have more than enough stock to meet your needs. There's no need for any form of panic buying whatsoever.
Why do you think then people may not be finding the fuel? I
think that, you see, I bring in products. It takes a while for it to get redistributed into the market. Okay, if you miss a day of access from my end, it will end up reflecting, and it takes a while for it to cover. It's an entire supply chain. So if I have a challenge, the bulk oil distribution companies have a challenge at one end, that challenge is going to filter through, and may take a little while for it to also correct itself. I don't think you should be seeing any of the challenges you are seeing, which I have not seen yet, really on the market in a day or two. No, not at all.
One of the things consumers are bothered about is the fact that, okay, we are not informed when some of these challenges come, so we can prepare ourselves.
I want to assure you, there's been no day where we've had zero stocks in tank anywhere in Ghana over this entire period of rumor or probably challenge experienced by consumers. There's been no day like that. Yes, there's a way for us to determine how much day cover, stock cover we have. And probably when it gets quite closer, we know we all have to rise up to the game and we make sure we correct the situation. And that's what we did. We never had a situation where there was a zero availability of stock, where probably oil marketing companies, who are the ones you go to, like Total, Shell, had total inability to access stocks from our end. It never happened. But because the ability to have abundant stocks to release them was a challenge because of what we were experiencing, it hampered on the convenience of consumers. That's a fact. But it's been corrected. Anytime it happens, we come together, we work together, both the Ministry of Energy, my members, and the Ministry of Finance, and we correct those things. And I think it's been done.
I see. You seem very excited now, but I remember...
and very, very calm. I've not had enough sleep in the past few weeks.
I see.
Because we've been trying to work around the clock to fix the situation, which we trust.
I remember the bulk oil distributors were also unhappy about some non-payments of your monies owed you. Has that been sorted out?
I don't think that's a problem. We have a working arrangement with government, and government will be very, very cooperative with us, very, very sensitive to our issues. I think it's a working plan. I don't think that that has any bearing.
I know it has no bearing on whether there is fuel or not. Yeah. Because we have been told that it came from the important side.
Yes, that's
what I want to find out, so that one day from now we won't get a letter from bulk oil distributors that we want governments to give us our monies or we'll stop giving you giving you some fuel. Has that problem been sorted?
We have an obligation to this economy, and we are committed to our obligation to this economy. We have to make products available to consumers, and we will make them available to consumers. And we trust the government will cooperate, and government has cooperated with us. Since the last challenge, we've had perfect cooperation. We trust that the plans to probably honor these payments will be surely complied with. There's an arrangement in place, and I don't think for myself or my members there's any cause for alarm, not at all. I mean, we'll do our bidding to the economy. Be rest assured.
I see, Senor Olivier. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Senor Hosi is acting chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. We've been talking the seeming fuel shortage, and he says no, it's not true. The problem has been solved. You can get fuel anywhere you go. And so we'll move on to some other stories. And the Presidential Special Operations Task Force is appealing to agents, companies, entities, and individuals to report people who claim to have powers from the presidency to clear their goods from them. We spoke with Dr. Clement Apak, presidential staffer and spokesperson for the task force earlier today.
We have received some reports, and in fact, we have brought this to the awareness of the CID, and some work is being done in the background. But for now, nobody has been apprehended. But we didn't bring forward this information just for the sake of bringing forward information. It is based on credible information that has come to us, indicating that there are some fraudsters in the system who are looking to take advantage of what one may describe as desperation by entities and companies who may find themselves in the type of situation that I've narrated.
I see. And so beyond warning and advice to clearing agents, what measures are you putting in place so that the office of the president is not abused?
Well, one of the ways that we can do that, of course, is to set up a system of information flow, and that is why we are telling members of the public that if anyone comes to you, or if you are an importer or a shipping line, or if you have any dealings at the port and anyone comes to you in the name of the presidency, quite clearly you should be asking for some form of identity. You should try to cross-check, and indeed you should be making a report to the nearest law enforcement establishment to cross-check and verify. But as I said, common sense should also tell you that there are processes involved. And as good citizens, we expect that people would use the right processes and avenues. And they are doable. I mean, I know many persons who have goods which should be tax exempt, and they have gone through the processes and they've been able to clear their goods without paying the needed taxes, because the purposes of which they bring those goods require that they should get some tax exemptions, and that is what we expect people to do. And so we can only act in as far as we have information. And so the first step is to ensure that we have information that can then lead to possible identification and bringing to book of persons who may try to use the name of the presidency for these types of nefarious activities.
Time Warner Cable has rejected a $60 billion bid from rival Charter Communications, saying the offer price was grossly inadequate. Charter had offered $132.5 a share, with $83 of that in cash and the rest in its own stock to buy the firm. It said it was going public with this offer because of the lack of interest from Time Warner's management in its efforts to purchase the firm. But the Time Warner said Charter was trying to buy it for a bargain price. If the deal were to go ahead, the combined firm would have more than 15 million customers in the U.S. The takeover would be the biggest in the sector since 2002, when the Comcast acquired AT&T's cable internet division in a $30 billion deal. The United States has accused China of failing to comply with the World Trade Organization directive requiring it to drop duties on high-tech U.S. steel imports. The trade body had mediated in a dispute between the two nations in 2012 and found China to have been unfairly placing tariffs on U.S. steel products. Washington says the taxes cost U.S. firms more than $250 million, about 152 million pounds in exports. China said it has since reduced the import duties, but the U.S. maintains that this has been insufficient. U.S. Trade Representative Michael Froman said this was the first time it was challenging China's compliance with the WTO dispute ruling. So Airbus delivered a company record of 626 planes in 2013. The manufacturer announced on Monday a total of 93 customers received Airbus aircraft last year, including 15 who were taking delivery of an Airbus aircraft for the first time. Despite the rise, Airbus fell short of deliveries achieved by arch-rival Boeing, which said earlier this month that it delivered 648 planes in 2013. Airbus said now had a 51% market share in aircraft with over 100 seats. Overall, Airbus delivered 493 of its A320 family aircraft, 108 of its A330 planes, and 25 of its Super Jumbo A380 last year. Authorities of the cocoa marketing company said they were working to meet the demand by cocoa truck drivers, calling for an increase in the wages of loading boys at the cocoa warehouses at Apoa near Takoradi in the western region. The loading boys are demanding an increase in wages and withdrew their services, resulting in hundreds of bags of cocoa beans getting rotten, while over 2,000 drivers and their mates are stranded at the warehouse. William Benjamin Peters is our Western Regional correspondent. He's joined us from the area with an update on the situation. Hello, William.
Hello, Kennedy.
So what is the latest on this?
Yeah, Kennedy, the latest is that some of the truck owners are alleged to have connived with some authorities of the cocoa market company to link them up to a private cocoa buying company operating inside the Takoradi port known as Unit Control Commodity Limited, who operates on behalf of the cocoa marketing company to offload of the drivers who have been called secretly to go to the port in order for them to have their trucks offloaded. So what is happening now is that the drivers, instead of them parking inside the perimeters of the warehouse of Apramodo, are now parking along the roadside leading to the main warehouse of Apramodo, and they secretly drive to the port in order for their wares to be offloaded by these private companies who are now operating on behalf of the cocoa marketing firm. So this in itself has brought up some division among the drivers because some of them are still stranded at the port, which means those of them whose car owners cannot, indulge themselves in such a deal will forever be stranded at the warehouse until the situation is resolved. So what these stranded drivers have now resolved to do is for also to embark on a major demonstration early tomorrow morning. So that's the latest update now.
See, so these loading boys are still on strike?
Yeah, they are.
And what's happening to the cocoa beans then?
Yeah, nothing is happening to it. They would, it's been reported, they would just fall. So right now, some of the truck drivers who have the means have now connived with authorities of the cocoa marketing, but to link them up to a private buying company which operates inside the Takoradi port to have their cocoa beans offloaded, while those who can't afford that deal will have their items bought.
I see. Thank you very much, William. William Benjamin Peters joined us from the Western region with an update on the strike embarked on by the loading boys at the cocoa offloading point in Apoa. We'll take a quick break. I'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. Let's go back to our earlier story where 83 senior high schools in the 3 northern regions of Ghana have partially reopened, only admitting final year students. In an update on that, Charles Aheto Chega, who is Acting Director General for the Ghana Education, said he's received some assurances from the Ministry of Finance that in a couple of weeks, some funds will be released to that effect. But let's find out from the Ghana Union of Students exactly what they think about this and what they intend to do about it as well. Samuel Binfo Dakwa is president of the association. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Samuel. Can you hear me, Samuel? Samuel, can you hear me? I'm not sure Samuel is over the telephone, and so we'll move away from that and we'll do some sports news instead. We'll do some sports news now, and the Sports Writers Association of Ghana has revealed the Sports Personality Award for the 2013 scheduled for May will be contested for by Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah and Stars captain Asamoah Gyan, Sulemuntari Kwadwo Asamoah, and Asamoah makes the shortlist also for Footballer of the Year category.
Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah will be contesting his team captain Asamoah Gyan for the flagship SWAG Personality of the Year award to be handed out in May. The award is an annual accolade given to the most impressive athlete in the year under review by the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. Appiah was nominated alongside the Black Stars skipper and female weightlifting sensation Juliana Aku. The Black Stars coach has already been considered as the overwhelming favorite for the prestigious award following his historical qualification of the side to the 2014 World Cup. The ex-Asante Kotoko defender will, however, pick up the non-competitive category of the Coach of the Year award. The Footballer of the Year award is being contested by Sulemuntari, Asamoah Gyan and Kwadwo Asamoah. Janet Eyiyam would also be awarded the Female Footballer of the Year for her outstanding performance with the Ghana under-17 female team.
The local Black Stars claimed all the spoils in a scrappy victory over Congo at the African Nations Championships in South Africa. And Theophilos Anoba's effort in the 34th minute was deflected into the post, with Congolese goalkeeper Muaki left beaten in the opening Group C fixture at the competition reserved for only home-based players on the continent. Here are some highlights of the game if you missed it.
For the senior side taking them to the World Cup. So they're giving the second in charge a chance here for them to see what they got in Delali. So ball played on the far side, cleared away this time by Ghana. Kobena Odise, 26-year-old from Accra in Ghana, plays for Santa Kotoko. His 11th care for his country. Emmanuel Nkodia, long one penalty area, cleared away this time by Saka. Falls short, a shot taken. Teammate. Now it's a long one, paid in, cleared in long side, and cleared away, connected again by Congo. Shot taken, deflected away off the Ghana. Let's have a look at this goalkeeper. That is man for AC Leopard. Now shot taken. Now chance in it, just wide. Doesn't really get things to stand in Ghana when a two-do play. Chance in it, deflected off. Oh! It is the opening goal. Unexpectedly so, he was not taking a shot, was trying to go around his marker.
Let's get to know the winner of the Ballon d'Or event, Cristiano Ronaldo, who picked up the award. Let's take a look at it.
The name is Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's it for sports, brought to you by Tigo. You're welcome back. On a rather sad note, Professor Rama Adi, the popular host of the Science and Maths quiz, has died at age 72. A source close to the family told City News that Professor Rama Adi died from a short illness on Tuesday morning. Prof Adi was the first woman professor of science from the University of Ghana. She was also a resource person for science education programs in the country. As a quiz mistress of a national weekly science and mathematics quiz program on television, she contributed immensely to science education by making the subject interesting to Ghanaians of all ages. It is believed that her quiz mistress role inspired many female students to study science. The late Rama Adi launched a book titled Rewards, an autobiography, to motivate and inspire the younger generation on the need to become useful role models.
In the wire. Yes, Frank.
The frequency is directly proportional to the square root of the tension.
Yes.
Right, let's go back to our earlier story, and it had to do with the 83 senior high schools in the 3 northern regions of Ghana, which have partially reopened school. By admitting only final year students. Let's talk to the president of the National Union of Ghanaian Students, Samuel Benfo Dakwa. Hello, Samuel.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us on News Today, but you may already know about this issue. Tell us how NUGS feels about this.
NUGS feels so saddened about the whole situation, and we see it to be a very unfortunate situation that is occurring in the educational landscape in Ghana. It's unfortunate that while we have other students who are in the southern part of our nation reopening school and going to school, our colleagues and our brothers and sisters in the 3 northern regions can't do same. It's a situation that is very much uncalled for. And you begin to ask yourself that is the nation so broke that capitation cannot be paid? Is the nation gotten to that level where everything can be sacrificed, including the fact that these younger ones must get to the classrooms and learn? Argument is being made that we are just at the beginning of the semester and that those have not started learning. That cannot be true. If reopening is not necessary, then it is happening today. So we feel that the government is reneging on its responsibility towards education in Ghana. It's not just about the 3 northern regions, but it affects everybody, every one of us, because those ones are being brought up to become good citizens to affect the whole nation. So that's how we feel about it.
Right, and so what is NUGS doing about this?
We appeal to the government. We feel that the assurances being given are not enough. The assurances can't take our brothers and sisters to the classrooms. The assurances are not enough for our headmaster to reopen the school for students to come to the classroom. We are demanding action that it must be done. Just as it's so important for a minister's car to be fueled, for those responsibilities that are given to ministers, quickly giving them, we expect that action will be taken immediately, and within the next 1 week, our brothers and sisters up north should get back to campus.
I see.
Need to advise itself.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for your time. Samuel Benfo Dakwa is president of the National Union of Ghanaian Students. We'll move on to some other stories just before we go. Over 100 graduates from the country's public universities picketed at the entrance of the Education Ministry to protest the lack of jobs. In fact, they are on a hunger strike. And my colleague Matilda Wemega was there earlier today, and Paul Krampa, who is with the Ministry of Education, was there. He spoke with them. Let's take a listen.
No, I mean, it's quite interesting. Interesting in the sense that now they are saying that they have actually got in touch with National Service Secretariat to give them the green light to have their members' dues deducted at source. But I am of the opinion that if you want to do somebody to do something for you, you need to sit down with the person and then you look at the pros and the cons. I mean, deducting people's money at source is a very risky thing in the sense that now if their monies are deducted and then the organization folds up, what happens to the deduction that has been made? So we are of the opinion that they need to exercise patience and sit down. They should sit down with the National Service Secretariat to look at the pros and cons of the whole thing, so that at least those who are ready to have their monies deducted, so they'll give undertaking. Oh, the ministry is drawing the attention of the National Service Secretariat. The minister has written a letter to the National Service Secretariat to actually brief. I mean, they want some sort of briefing from the National Service Secretariat on this particular issue, so that we'll see how best we can address their concerns.
Let's get into showbiz now, and well, let's watch it. Henry Hank Pym, the creator of the technology used to shrink a human to the size of an insect. Anchorman star Paul Rudd, 44, has already announced that he will be playing the part of Scott Lang, Ant-Man's alter ego. Douglas said he has been dying to do a Marvel picture for so long. He added, "The script is really fun. The director is really good." This is News Today, a recap of our top stories. Ghana Education Service says it has received assurance from government it will soon pay feeding grants for 3 northern region senior high schools so students can return to school. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for staying through. My name is Kimini Nyamani Emmanuel.